spotlight is back on the Golden Stage as the 4th annual Amgen Tour of California returns bigger and better than ever. It's America's most prestigious bike race, and the world's best cyclists will battle it out from Sacramento to San Diego. Headlining the event this year is Lance Armstrong. It marks a return to the sport for the 7-time Tour de France champion. The 37-year-old Texan is hopping back in the saddle after 3 years in retirement and makes his debut here in California. Lance will ride alongside his teammate Levi Leipheimer. The 2-times defending champion looks to continue his dominance here on the roads of California. With the help of a strong Astana squad, the pride and joy of Santa Rosa will ride in quest of his 3rd consecutive win. With 2 years doping ban now behind him, American Floyd Landis returns to the race he won in 2006 with a new team and eager to prove himself. The 33-year-old Landis will try to find the form he needs now to once again stand atop the podium. Also off suspension is Italy's Ivan Basso. The 2006 Giro d'Italia winner and former teammate of Levi Leipheimer returns with a new team and a new outlook. Riding out this elite class of riders are the likes of world champion Tom Bonan and the Olympic gold medalist Fabian Cancellara. And rising superstar Mark Cavendish, who won 4 stages on last year's Tour de France, is on the mission to do the same here. The superstars of the sport have gathered, and it's now game on.
The stars of cycling have aligned here in California. All that remains to be seen is who will rule the road. The 2009 Amgen Tour of California begins today in the Golden State's capital city of Sacramento. It may not be as warm as we'd like, but at least the sun is out, everyone. We welcome you to our Versus set here, along with the 2 men whose sounds are synonymous with cycling, Phil Liggett and Paul Sherwen. I'm Craig Hummer. I tell you what, Phil, the pulse of the cycling public has been on overdrive, hasn't it, in the past few months as we've gotten ready for today?
Absolutely, Craig. This race itself, it's come up in its 4th year now. It's drawn Lance Armstrong back into the thick of the action. It is the finest field I think we've ever assembled.
A lot of excitement going, Paul, including with the presentation as well as the team gala.
Well, I think so. Phil and I are very lucky because we actually managed to see Lance Armstrong racing in Australia, but for the first time ever, a lot of people turned out to see Lance Armstrong. 600 members of the press registered here, and with all the other stars that are lined up in this year's Amgen Tour of California for the gala presentation the other night, there were no fewer than 20 television cameras lined up to see the stars who are going to participate in this bike race this year.
Like any great idea, the Amgen Tour of California started with a dream, and it's been a wonderful 3 years since its fruition. In 2006, California resident Levi Leipheimer won the opening Prologue to slip on the first ever leader's jersey. American George Hincapie won 2 stages, while Floyd Landis time trialed to the stage victory in his way to winning the inaugural edition of the race. In 2007, a focused Levi Leipheimer took hold of the leader's jersey and never let go, clinching the overall with a dominating win in the decisive Solvang time trial. JJ Hayato took 2 exciting stage wins, and world champion Paolo Bettini grabbed a photo finish on the streets of San Luis Obispo. Last year, Fabian Cancellara became the first non-American to wear the leader's jersey. He scorched the opening Prologue in Palo Alto. JJ Hayato kept up his winning ways, while Tom Bonan showcased his power in a misty sprint finish. Slipstream's Tyler Farrar got his chance to don the leader's jersey before 3 monstrous climbs in Stage 3 weeded out the true contenders. Robert Gessing of Rabobank crested the top of Mount Hamilton with Levi Leipheimer, going on to take stage honors and Levi earning the overall lead. The following stage saw Mother Nature unleash a cold, windy, rainy day. Canadian Dominique Rollin broke away from the field to take the stage win. In Solvang, Levi Leipheimer once again took ownership of the time trial, sewing up the overall win A day before, George Hincapie took his fourth career Amgen Tour of California stage win in the shadows of Pasadena's Rose Bowl at the conclusion of last year's epic race. As great as the excitement has been for the past 3 years, coming into 2009, Phil, there is some incredible buzz about just how good this field is.
Well, I really don't think it can be disputed here, you know, because in fact the Tour de France has a field only equal to the Tour of California this time around. Even the riders are saying it. This really is now, in its fourth year, the best field ever assembled here in the state of California. The 2009 edition of the Amgen Tour of California has brought together an unprecedented field of elite cyclists from around the world. Team Astana boasts two-time defending champion Levi Leipheimer, who's here hoping to make it a three-peat on his home soil. And with teammate and Tour de France legend Lance Armstrong staging his own comeback, Team Astana will be a big threat out on the highway. Garmin Slipstream has brought American stars like Christian van der Velde and US national time trial champion Dave Zabriskie on their roster. And Team Columbia is also back in the peloton, led by three-time stage winner George Hincapie, who'll be riding alongside the sprinting sensation Mark Cavendish, who's riding his second Tour of California. With the most stage wins last year, Team Saxo Bank returns with Olympic time trial medalist Fabian Cancellara, as well as JJ Haido, who has won a record 5 stages in this event. Team Liquigas's Ivan Basso and 2006 Tour of California winner Floyd Landis are also both back in the field after 2-year bans from the sport. And with other strong riders, such as the Belgian Tom Bonen and Rock Racing's Tyler Hamilton on the start list, many battles are sure to ensue on the roads ahead in California.
Our list could go on and on, Paul, but these next group of riders we're calling our comeback kids.
Certainly comeback kids, definitely everyone with a different reason. Floyd Landis coming back after 2 years suspension from a doping allegation. And of course, Ivan Basso, former winner of the 2006 Giro d'Italia. He's coming back, but coming back from illness and injury also is Michael Rogers of Australia.
And when we come back, we'll take a look at this year's route, as well as 2 of America's biggest names in cycling. Astana's dual threat here in California, Lance Armstrong and Levi Leipheimer. The 2009 Amgen Tour of California on Versus is brought to you by AEG, giving the world reason to cheer. By EAS, don't waste your workout, finish it with EAS Myoplex. And by Amgen. Amgen, pioneering science, delivers vital medicines. And by California Travel and Tourism. Find yourself here. Plan your trip at visitcalifornia.com.
Amgen's mission is to serve patients. We really feel it in the daily work that we do.
We rely on hardcore basic science in novel pathways that create revolutionary medicines.
When I go into a pharmacy, I see lots of medicines. I now have a very visceral and personal appreciation for how long, how difficult, and how many people have to work together to make something like that happen.
Just amazing, the technology that there is today and the stuff that they're able to invent.
We try to fight serious illnesses by attacking them in as many ways as possible.
I think about the scientists and the people who are spending their career and their life creating these drugs, and I'd like to just say thank you to all of them.
We set a standard that other biotechs strive for. You can't do that unless you have a company that's full of people with that type of drive, that type of desire to do the right thing.
It seems like a great price, but I better make sure.
Who are they?
Well, they're my low-price search party. They help me find the best deals.
Or we could just step over to the Sears Appliance Research Center and check the competition's prices to make sure you're getting the lowest price possible.
We'll be in the food court.
We find the lowest prices, then we beat them. Right now, get 15% off all appliances, plus save on a whole lot more. For more, see Sears.com. Sears Blue Appliance Group.
John. On March 6th.
Hey, don't leave me!
Everything we've known,
I feel fear for the last time,
will change. In theaters and IMAX March 6th.
Everybody here just works themselves to death. Start about 4 o'clock in the morning.
From sun up to sundown, 6-7 days a week.
To the time you go to bed, and sometimes even later than that. I think everybody needs a break.
Welcome to Las Vegas.
There's been so many times when you buck off a bull at 7.2, 7.5, 7.7, 7.9. I mean, if you rode a bull 7.7, you should be able to ride him 8. I mean, that's no time at all. Why can't you just hang on that much longer? I mean, you just do the best you can do. Sometimes it, it works out. Sometimes it don't. It's whatever.
There is a lot of real estate to work with here in California right now. Paul Sherwen is going to take us through this year's route.
This year's Amgen Tour of California will take the riders roughly 800 miles from Sacramento to San Diego County. It starts with a short but intense 2.4-mile prologue through the streets of the state capital. Sacramento will host this lightning-fast individual race that should only take the riders about 5 minutes to complete. A new stage in this year's tour takes us from Davis to defending champion Levi Leipheimer's hometown of Santa Rosa. After a fairly flat start, the riders will make their way through the beautiful Napa Valley before tackling a few small climbs that include Howell Mountain Road. The race will end with a 3-lap circuit through downtown Santa Rosa. Starting on the northern side of the San Francisco Bay, Stage 2 will cover almost 116 miles from Sausalito to Santa Cruz. For the first time, the peloton will roll across the Golden Gate Bridge before winding through the streets of San Francisco and down the California coast along Highway 1. The riders face 2 big climbs, Tanitas Creek Road and Bonnie Doon Road, both over 2,000 feet before descending into Santa Cruz for a sprint finish. Stage 3 from Santa Rosa to Modesto will test the riders right off the starting line with a climb up Sierra Road that covers 1,900 feet of elevation. Next up is a 1,500-foot climb over Patterson Pass before the second half of the race flattens out and the peloton races into Modesto for a 2-lap circuit downtown. Stage 4 welcomes 2 more cities to the Tour of California as the racers tackle 115 miles from Merced to Clovis. This challenging stage includes several sprints and 4 KOMs, including climbs elevating from 2,000 feet to almost 4,000 feet. It concludes on a fast, flat ride into the beautiful old town of Clovis. The longest stage of the race this year will be a 134-mile trek on a new course from Visalia to Paso Robles. After 2 laps around Visalia, the peloton heads out into the flat San Joaquin Valley, home to over 200 wineries spread out along the countryside. The route continues into the hilly central California coastal mountain range before ending in a sprint to the finish. In what has become the infamous individual time trial in the Danish-inspired town of Solvang, Stage 6 will once again be a critical test for the true race contenders. On a fairly flat course that showcases the beauty of the San Ynez Valley, 2-time defending champion Levi Leipheimer will try to pedal his way to a 3rd consecutive stage win. Stage 7 is an 89-mile ride from Santa Clarita to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. This difficult, hilly and technical stage takes the riders through the San Gabriel Mountains with gradual climbing that peaks at over 4,900 feet atop the Mill Creek summit, the 2nd highest climb in the history of the Tour. The stage ends with 5 5-mile laps around the Rose Bowl. The final stage of the 2009 Tour of California again introduces 2 more new cities into the race as the peloton races 97 miles from Rancho Bernardo to Escondido in what is being touted as the most demanding stage in the history of the Tour. It will be a fight to the end with 4 KOMs, one ascending to the highest point ever reached in the Tour. Palomar Mountain is over 5,100 feet with more than 11 miles of climbing. It has a 7% average grade, 4,200 feet of elevation, and 21 switchbacks. This stage could very well be a game changer.
So here are the overall numbers, those 6 road stages, 1 TT, and of course we start today with a prologue including all over 16 mountain passes and over 750 miles. Well, bottom line, how does this compare to the 3 previous editions, Phil?
The toughest, without a doubt, Craig, I think, and the field, of course, is going to make it even harder. I really think that we've got 3 crucial stages, probably stage 2, and that'll be a hurter in the mountains. Then we're going to have the time trial, which is on the Friday, and then we'll finish with a very tough road race stage on stage 8.
Paul, a lot of teams have come in saying how they want to be aggressive from the start. Where do you see probably the best chances for opportunities?
Well, sadly, I have to agree with Phil. I think the most important days are really going to be the time trial around Solvang. It's a great circuit, it's a good tester, and of course the sting in the tail this year. Just like in the Tour de France in the month of July, the Tour of California has put themselves a very difficult day right down at the end.
We continue to build up to our start here in Sacramento. The prologue about to begin in the state's capital. You are not going to want to miss this. Still to come, Astana's full frontal assault on this race, including 7-time Tour de France champion Lance Armstrong and 2-time defending Amgen Tour of California champ Levi Leipheimer.
When the road ahead is full of twists and turns and you can't see what's around the corner, it helps to have someone to safely guide the way. Rabobank is your safe and sound banking leader. Well capitalized and conservative, Rabobank can help you navigate the challenges on the road ahead. As part of one of the safest banks in the world, we'll keep your money safe, secure, and growing. Ride safe, bank safe with Rabobank NA, official bank of the Amgen Tour of California.
Exclusively available through your Herbalife independent distributor. Herbalife, nutrition for a better life.
All right, class, let's button it. Becker.
Here.
Callahan. Callahan. Delivery confirmation on Callahan.
Drop him off at 8:15.
Gymnasium.
No, sir. No Callahan.
Always.
No Callahan. Just a freshman.
Thank you. No emails from his parents. Drivers, I need a 20 on Callahan. Got him. Reroute him straight to detention.
Get more done now with the new BlackBerry Curve, the only BlackBerry Curve with Nextel Direct Connect.
Through the years, many things pass from father to son, like Aqua Velva Aftershave. Smells great, cools, firms, and tones. Cool. Aqua Velva, men get it. Wake up your whiskers with Electric Shave. Electric Shave! Stands up whiskers for an up to 52% closer shave.
Man, that was close.
Electric Shave. Blade close, electric smooth.
That is just the astounding thing. I have not snored. And so this thing works. It's easy to use, easy to mold, works like a charm.
I'm sleeping through the night and so is he, and we're waking up with more energy and not waking up in the middle of the night to say shh.
If it doesn't work, we'll refund the purchase price, refund the original shipping charge, and even pay to ship it back. Try Pure Sleep risk-free.
Visit us at puresleep.com.
The Amgen Tour of California continues tomorrow on Versus. Stage 1 will take us from Davis to Santa Rosa. The Tour of California tomorrow at 6 Eastern, right here on Versus. We welcome you back to our preview show, and it is, of course, our set getting ready to go for the prologue. You know, most of the excitement centered around the Amgen Tour of California this year has to do with a certain man named Lance Armstrong. But as many of you know, this isn't his first comeback.
By the age of 25, Lance Armstrong, a Texas native, had accomplished in cycling what many riders strive to achieve over the course of their whole careers. With a World Championship title and 2 Tour de France stage wins under his belt, Armstrong's potential appeared to be limitless. But in 1996, Lance Armstrong's career came to a rapid halt when on October the 2nd he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. Admittingly having ignored some of the warning signs, Armstrong's cancer had spread to his stomach, lungs and brain. Given a mere 40% survival rate, the fight ahead of him was more grueling than anything he'd ever faced on the bike. After undergoing several surgeries and aggressive treatment, Lance Armstrong amazingly beat the odds and officially changed his status from cancer victim to cancer survivor. Although weak from the experience, Armstrong once again summoned his love for the sport and slowly but surely got back on his bike. Armstrong's return was one for the record books. After joining the US Postal Service team, Lance returned to the 1999 Tour de France and rode away with the overall title. But the Texan's unbelievable comeback was far from over. He went on to
California, and there is a magnificent crowd here in Sacramento, which is the
greatest champion in the Tour de France history. Armstrong retired in 2005 to continue his fight against cancer through the Lance Armstrong Foundation. But as the world learned once before, Armstrong can never be counted out. He announced his comeback to the sport in September 2008 and returns to this year's Tour of California riding for Team Astana in the hopes of spreading his Live Strong message.
It's absolutely mind-boggling what this man was able to accomplish in the sport of cycling before his retirement. Interesting to note that this is his first appearance at the Amgen Tour of California. What more can Lance Armstrong do? We are about to find out. Phil, what was your first reaction when Lance first made it official that he was coming back?
Well, I have to say, Craig, it was one of annoyance because I'd been riding with Lance in Calgary in Canada in the month of June. And he never mentioned a thing about it. And there we are, come the start of October, he was back in the action. And then I have to admit, one of great delight.
He does like to keep his cards close to his chest, doesn't he? And you're usually in the inner sanctum, so I'm surprised he didn't let you know.
That's why I was annoyed.
But, Paul, what really does this mean to the overall sport of cycling? How much is this going to help out?
I think it's great. You know, I don't normally believe in comebacks and think, especially the way Lance Armstrong retired, it was a great way to retire. 7 Tour de France is stopping on the Champs-Élysées, but I think the sport and probably the world in general at the moment needs a hero, and I think Lance Armstrong, we all know, certainly is a hero.
Well, with this comeback, Lance now gets to ride alongside an old teammate and friend, talking, of course, about Levi Leipheimer, who's no stranger to success, and he actually feels the Amgen Tour of California is his own.
Here he is. I came to Santa Rosa about 12 years ago. I made the decision I was going to move somewhere that was beneficial to being a professional cyclist. I came here to check it out, and I never left because of riding through the redwoods, steep climbs, long climbs, out on the ocean, Highway 1. It's just beautiful. Getting ready to do a time trial workout. I've had my time trial bike today. Gonna go meet Scott Neidham with Team BMC. We're heading north, kind of around Healdsburg through the vineyards. Scott Neidham, the ideal training partner. Great guy, and it's really this synergy of us training together where we're out there motivating each other, pushing each other, and it's all in a really positive way.
That's Levi's favorite dog, Trooper. And he's like so skinny and tiny, just like Levi.
Odessa's role in my success is huge. She understands what it takes to be a dedicated cyclist. She is behind me 100%.
I'm a vegetarian because I love animals. There's a big need for horse rescue in America right now. I rescued them. I don't ask anything of them other than lots of hugs and kisses. You're a good boy.
You want some? Hey. Come on, did you get my message?
I did.
I try to get a massage at least once a week, usually twice a week from Brenda. This is the best part of the day. You know, she works with the team a lot in the U.S. She has a ton of experience with a training partner like Scott Neidham, Odessa backing me up, and then getting a massage from Brenda. I have a great team behind me to make me win the race like Tour of California.
Taking a look at some of Levi Leipheimer's stats, you see what his strengths are. Of course, he's an all-arounder. He's the two-time defending champion of the Amgen Tour of California. And let's not forget, he's also finished 3rd overall at the Tour de France. So, where have Levi's gains been most notable, do you think, Phil, over the years that you've watched him?
Well, he's grown steadily, of course, as a top bike rider, but this is his race. This is his home state, and he wants to win it again. And I think, Craig, he'll be very, very difficult to beat. The course is perfect for him. He climbs well. He's beaten all his teammates in training. He'll be the protected rider, I'm sure.
Speaking of Leipheimer, let's also, though, talk, Paul, about his team, Astana. On paper, they seem by far the strongest here. Should they go out and control the race from the get-go if Levi gets in yellow in the prologue?
There are certain stages where they need to control from the get-go, because I tell you one thing, this is a very difficult Amgen Tour of California this year. They are, I have to say, probably the best team in the world for stage races, and that's exactly what we're facing up to here. 10 days of bike racing, and I think they will control the race very early on because they've brought a brilliant team here and they want to win this. Levi wants to win it for the 3rd time, and as Phil says, we're looking here at a man who is dedicated to winning on home soil.
Plenty more to come before we get to the prologue, while a lot of the spotlight is shown on Astana. When we come back, we are going to shine the light on one of the teams that like to go a little bit under the radar. Of course, we're talking about America's Garmin Slipstream.
If you've been putting off getting new carpet for your home, now's the time to put it back on. Because the Home Depot has a new lower price for carpet installation. Only $139 for your whole house, no matter how many rooms. We've lowered the price on over 1,000 items throughout the store, including carpet. So you'll pay the lowest total price for your carpet project, guaranteed. New carpet has never been more affordable, with basic installation for just $139, no matter how many rooms. Only at the Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
Cancer. It's a lonely word. Terms I don't understand. Choices I never thought I'd have to make. But there is hope and help.
Support from cancer survivors.
Links to research and clinical trials.
Help with finances and access to care.
All behind you at Breakaway from Cancer. Created by Amgen to empower cancer patients. It takes a team to prevent and fight cancer. Find yours at breakawayfromcancer.com.
I just told him, do your best. Build a car you're proud of. Of course, winning's not bad either.
The Subaru Forester, Motor Trend's 2009 Sport Utility of the Year. Isn't it nice when honest virtues win?
Those who seek to find her uncover the true face of fear.
Do you see me? What the hell was that?
Rated M for mature.
Help? Find the best price on hotels with our flexible price calendar. Travelocity. You'll never roam alone.
The penny, seemingly small, but now witness the new power of the penny. Penny Pizza. Call or come in for Pizza Hut's Penny Pizza deal. Get a medium one topping for just a penny when you order any large pizza at menu price. The Penny Pizza deal by Pizza Hut. Now you're eating.
Wait, I'm not eating Skittles.
Reflect the rainbow. Taste the rainbow.
The State House in Sacramento was the backdrop for the 3-lap finish circuit here in downtown, and it seemed to inspire patriotism. In 2007, CSC speedster J.J. Hayato blasted to the front to grab his 3rd overall stage win. But in the overall GC, it was Levi Leipheimer who stood atop the podium. And Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger added star power to the stage as Levi basked in the glory of being the man in yellow. In 2008, American Scott Neidham of Team BMC grabbed the early spotlight. He launched an early attack and bravely rode solo for 90 miles before being swept up by the peloton. Quickstep's Tom Boonen later survived the wet streets of Sacramento and powered across the finish for his first stage win in the Tour of California. But it was Garmin's young star, Tyler Farrar, the new race leader, who could hardly believe it when Governor Schwarzenegger helped him into the yellow jersey. The crowd rolling in here as we get set to start our prologue here in Sacramento. Unfortunately, though, the clouds are rolling in as well. A lot of sun earlier in the morning. But, guys, hopefully keep your fingers crossed that rain does not start as our riders do. Well, Astana may have the biggest target on its back as we get set to begin this year's Tour of California. But there is also another American team who has earned its time in the spotlight. We're talking about Garmin Slipstream. They're just not here to stay. They're here to win.
The bar for us in 2009 is high, for sure. Last year, I think we came in with very realistic expectations, and we completely smashed them. This year, I think, people expect more out of us, and we are seeing that the athletes we're choosing, the methods we're using, everything we're doing, the culture that we created, it's working.
I think the team feels a little bit more pressure that we need to follow through and win more races and not be the bridesmaid a lot of times and not just be the cute team, but really be a big team and be an Pro Tour team this year.
I tell you what, I take my hat off very sincerely to number 199, Danny Pate.
Biggest difference in, I think we'd say in Vibe, and people are growing up really quick now, and people are starting to be more professional and starting to realize what it's like to be in Europe full time.
I think for this year, we have so much confidence now as a team, and the momentum, all the guys' spirits and camaraderie, and we're all friends and we all know we can kick butt and win races.
Last year, people didn't really know what to expect, and then we've kind of set the bar for ourselves, and now we have to go higher than that bar. And there's always pressure. That's just competition in general. So
I think we're going to have more success in 09 because of our 08 experiences.
Starting with its inception, Phil, what do you think makes Garmin Slipstream such a unique team?
I think largely because Jonathan Vaughters has a vision. When he retired as a top professional cyclist, he brought together youngsters under the guise of TIA Cref. They developed into Garmin. Last year they became of age by getting the pink jersey in the Giro and the 4th place finish in the Tour de France. This year, Craig, they are going to be a team to be reckoned with.
Let's transition from talking about an American team, Paul, to another American making a comeback here at the Amgen Tour of California, Floyd Landis. It's been a couple years since we've seen him. With everything that's swirling along in his life over the past 24 months, a lot of people forget he's one darn good bike racer, isn't he?
He's an extremely good bike racer, and I have to say, let's not forget when Lance Armstrong retired in 2005, we were looking for a new champion in 2006, and Floyd Landis showed his courage on a stage into Morzine when he pulled himself back into the Tour de France and eventually won it on the Champs-Élysées. And he's a man who certainly, I think, knows how to battle, and he knows how to battle with his legs. If you just have a look at that, let's not forget he was the winner of the inaugural Amgen Tour of California as well back in 2006, and that year he also won Paris-Nice. The important thing about Floyd, though, I have to say, is he's a very quiet bike rider. He doesn't want to say too much, but he wants to do the talking with his legs.
Well, speaking of that quietness, Phil, as you know, he doesn't talk to the press very much. When he does, his words carry a lot of weight. What is his mentality, though, now coming in to this year's Amgen?
He was always a quiet guy, even when he was a champion in 2006. But that disqualification of the Tour de France hurt him big time, because to this day he does not believe that he was guilty of any positive doping test in the Tour de France. When he turned up downtown, of course, he had his bodyguard with him. He didn't particularly want to speak, and he had fallen off, by the way, just hours before, and there was concern he may not even get to ride this year's Tour, but he's okay, and he will be on the start line. I think he wants to prove a point, and if he was guilty of winning the Tour de France by taking drugs, why on earth would he make a comeback?
Well, just one of the many questions that we intend to answer over the next 9 days here in California. While the world waits on Floyd's form, there is one man where there is no debate. The fastest man on 2 wheels, the best cyclist in the world, and sprinter, I should say, is Mark Cavendish. He'll be the focus when we return.
Race car driver feels 800 pounds of force at every turn. How does Dale Jr. overcome it? Energy Focus Control. Amp yourself.
Sweet mother.
How much sugar is in these energy drinks? Let's find out. While waiting, you should know. 5-Hour Energy contains 0 sugar and only 4 calories. Its blend of B vitamins and amino acids can help you feel awake, alert, and productive for hours without the crash or jitters. The answer is 12. Over 12 teaspoons of sugar and 200 calories in these energy drinks. 0 sugar and 4 calories in 5-Hour Energy. There's a reason people choose 5-Hour Energy 2.5 million times a week. 5-Hour Energy. Hours of energy now, no crash later.
Introducing the People Want It Now event, because the people want a great deal and they want more.
The people want safe to happen.
The people want value that lasts.
The people have always wanted that.
The people want to be carefree about maintenance.
Am I high maintenance?
The people want to go further on every tank.
The people want to go potty now.
The People Want It Now event, happening now.
For a limited time, get 0% APR for 60 months on a 2009 Rutan. Legendary Volkswagen value. It's what the people want.
Now there's a new way to invest that allows you to diversify your portfolio beyond stocks and other traditional markets.
It's Forex, the global market for foreign currency trading.
At Forex.com, you can take your investment strategy beyond borders
and trade the world's leading currencies 24 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Go to Forex.com today, open a free practice account,
and experience the excitement of OTC currency trading risk-free.
Go to Forex.com and start trading currencies.
I was limited. Keeping track of everything was driving me crazy. With my old cell plan, I had to talk on their time, not mine. That's why I switched to Cricket. Now I'm unlimited for real. I stay connected with everyone, whenever, without worrying about how much it's going to cost me.
Call 1-800-853-7415 now, and for $35 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and U.S. long distance. That's to anyone on any network 24/7 on our all-digital 3G network with no signed contracts and no overages. And right now, save $50 on these cool Samsung phones, or get the full-featured Samsung specs for only $49.99. So why wait? Call 1-800-853-7415, go to mycricket.com, or visit a Cricket store today and get unlimited talk, text, and U.S. long distance for just $35 a month.
Getting it together is a whole lot easier when you're unlimited.
Call, click, or come into a Cricket store today. Cricket Wireless. Real unlimited, unreal savings.
A lot of people are paying attention to the sport of cycling for the first time. Compliments of Lance Armstrong's return. So we've added someone new to our cast of characters here at Versus who's a little bit unique in taking her first look at cycling as well. Let's go to Rossica Mather.
So I'm standing here with Nick.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
What country are you from? Can you understand me, sir?
Yes, I'm from England.
I'm from India. Do you recognize me? Yeah. Huh? Yeah. British rule? Yeah. You? Huh? 47? Kicked you out? So you're completely integrated here. Specialized.
This is the time trial bike?
Time traveling bike.
Time trial bike. It's going to be used twice in the tour.
Where are the spokes? Can I get on here? It's a little high. Very snug fit, by the way. Oh, this is when the bikers get lazy, isn't it?
Speed. Low, you're like a wedge.
This is for espresso when you're getting tired?
No, this is gin and this is tonic.
I drive a manual, so I don't know anything about shifts and gears. Where are the pedals? This thing doesn't have any.
It has a on the shoe that clips in like a ski binding.
I'm not wearing the right shoes for this. Thank you, Nick. I think everybody at home learned a lot more than I did. And when I go back and watch this, then I'll get it.
You like the espresso idea, don't you?
I like the espresso idea. I'm looking forward to learning a lot about bicycle racing this week.
I don't know. I kind of like the old the gin and tonic look as well, because good old colonial drink.
Come on, partner. You cannot drink and ride. You know the rules. You know the rules. One man who enjoys his riding is often considered, at least over the past 2 months, or I should say 2 years, the fastest man on two wheels. We're talking about Mark Cavendish. Every time he gets on the bike, he aims to prove he's the best.
Yeah, the Isle of Man is originally a Gaelic colony, you know. Queen is the ruler of the Isle of Man, but we have our own government. It's quite a proud nation, like any Gaelic nation. The Irish, the Scottish, the Welsh. I think everybody's close and everybody knows what everybody's doing. If you're doing something well, then prove quite popular over here. You know, I had no cycling in my family, but I was always supported when I was a kid with having bikes, with having BMXs.
always had a thing for riding my bike, whether I was riding around the BMX track, riding to the shop, riding to school, just to be on a bike. It's a cliched thing in cycling, but it gave me a sense of freedom. There's a great cycling culture here. The terrain and the conditions just make it's so perfect. If your family's here and you can build a home here, then I think it's pretty spot on, really.
This is where I found my love of bike racing, just here at the BMX track. See a lot of Tour de France hopefuls here already, I think. And the problem is, like, I'm not so good at climbing, but I train an awful lot of climbs, and I try to climb as much as possible. It's the best way for me to lose weight. It's the best way for me to get in shape. I've always been driven at everything I've done. I've always been completely focused and never ever wanted to fail for myself or for people who've helped me.
The fruit just adds a bit of flavour, texture to a bit of powder. You know?
It's nice to come home and just be Mark, you know. The most important fact to keep me grounded is Melissa, you know. She's been with me since before I was successful, since everything, all the down points, she's been with me and she stuck by me. And now that everything's going well, you know, it kind of puts into perspective how special it is to have those people around you, you know.
We've got chicken in a white wine sauce.
It doesn't matter who you are, if you can surround yourself with the best people for you, then you're going to get the best out of yourself. And I've got the best group of people around me in my private life and in my life as a bike rider. I'm content and it makes me happy.
On the road last year, nobody did it better than Mark Cavendish. You see how many stages he won in the Tour de France. There were 4. He also won 3 in the Giro d'Italia, a total of 18 wins in the calendar year of 2008. Phil, with everything that he's done and all his accomplishments to date, what do you think, though, makes him the most dangerous weapon, it seems, that Columbia High Road has?
Quite simply, he's a man with attitude, and he's a rider who can win and believes he can win. He's got a Jekyll and Hyde character, we saw there. He's a great kid when he's not racing the bike, but when he's on the bike, he's a killer.
Here at the Amgen Tour of California, though, this year, Paul, he is going to have his work cut out from a stacked field in the sprinting category.
There's a lot of great sprinters in the Tour of California this year. I have to say that the guys that he's going to come up against are seasoned sprinters as well. You've got to look at men, of course, like Tom Bonen. He's a man who's very difficult to beat. Thor Hushoff, the god of thunder. He knows how to thunder out of a pack. Oscar Freire, 3-time champion of the world. And, of course, let's not forget the most successful man at winning stages here at the Amgen Tour of California, the Argentinian rider, J.J. Hayedo.
That is who to watch out for in the sprinting category. A little while ago, we heard about Lance Armstrong's past story. When we come back, we hear why he's ready to write a new chapter.
Everyone thinks Californians are so laid back. But we're actually pretty ambitious.
We reach for the sky! We put our best foot forward!
We're persistent.
Really persistent! We give it our best shot.
So if you have a dream of reaching the summit,
chase it down in California! But don't worry!
There'll always be room at the top.
California. Find yourself here.
It seems like a great price, but I better make sure.
Who are they?
Well, they're my low-price search party. They help me find the best deals.
Or we could just step over to the Sears Appliance Research Center and check the competition's prices to make sure you're getting the lowest price possible.
We'll be in the food court.
We find the lowest prices, then we beat them. Right now, get 15% off all appliances, plus save on a whole lot more. For more, see Sears.com. Sears Blue Appliance Group.
Every 60 seconds, someone, somewhere, is making the switch to Tempur-Pedic. Now, it's your turn. Call now for your free information kit, including a Tempur material sample, along with a DVD and catalog. Traditional mattresses use metal springs that can cause pressure points, causing you to toss and turn. Only the Tempur-Pedic mattress automatically adjusts to your body while keeping your spine in perfect alignment. Plus, because Tempur-Pedic doesn't transfer motion, you won't disturb your partner when you get out of bed or shift positions. Best of all, Tempur-Pedic will let you sleep on one of their sleep systems for an incredible 90 nights before you make your purchase decision. If you want the ultimate in comfort, if you wish to get more sleep but can't, it's time you make the switch to Tempur-Pedic.
Call 1-800-845-0531 for your free information kit. That's 1-800-845-0531. Call today.
The push to the NHL playoffs is on Versus. There's only one game that tells a team if they're fast enough, tough enough, and hungry enough to hang with the best. And this is that game. Flyers Red Wings, March 17th, right here on Versus. We are getting set for the Prologue. Versus, of course, the #1 name in cycling. But when you talk about known cyclists in the civilized world, we, of course, are talking about Lance Armstrong. He has been the biggest name in cycling, even though he has been retired for the past 3 years. Now his comeback has everyone talking.
It was a gradual process for me. Number one, I've discovered that I have a true passion for cycling. I think I can still be a competitive professional cyclist. On the other hand, equally as important is the mission of the foundation, and we're at a point now where we felt we could take this message and we can affect lives, we can affect change, and ultimately create more survivors around the world. So obviously it's an important issue for me. It's touched my life, and it really is the main motivation to be back doing this. But I called Johan and I said, yeah, I want to come back. He first thought I was kidding, then I said, no, I'm going to come back. And I said, and it's free. It's time to continue to get back to my cause, but also to get back to cycling. You know, my position on this team in general is one of total uncertainty. Been out of the sport for 3.5 years. I'm 37 years old. This is a team that is stacked. We got Alberto Contador, we got Levi, who dominated the Tour of California last year. From the perspective of, again, somebody that's rediscovered a true passion for cycling, I mean, this feels completely different for me. I know Levi, he wants to win the Tour of California again in the worst way. So if I had to lay out my perfect scenario, I would be the domestique extraordinaire for him and make sure that he has every opportunity, whatever he needs to do to win, we're going to do.
Paul, you had a chance to visit with Lance when you guys were just down in Australia, and I think he did make it clear, didn't he, that his cycling legacy is secondary to the bigger message, isn't it?
It certainly is. You know, he's made a big decision to come back, and it's difficult when you have a reputation like Lance Armstrong, but he's put all of that behind him now, and he's thinking about racing, enjoying his racing, and being a member of the Team Astana, one of the top teams in the world. I have to say that at the Tour Down Under, everything seemed to have doubled. The number of spectators, the number of press. But what really amazed me was the performance of Lance Armstrong, because not only was he actually on the bike racing, he was going out every evening, every afternoon on the cancer campaign. And he moved the Prime Minister of Australia down from Sydney to Adelaide just to meet him and talk about the cancer campaign.
As he will tell you, oftentimes things are bigger than sport. Lance Armstrong yet again showing us and setting the bar. Well, when we come back, the Prologue will finally be underway. Riders out on course, using their time wisely, testing out the road. It will be the time to really answer questions when we come back.
Sometimes the recipe for adventure is 1 part poor judgment plus 2 parts persistence. Take Dan Heaton of Seattle. Dan is an off-road unicyclist, a sport that didn't exist till he and his buddies had the vision for it. To some, such vision might call for corrective lenses. But to us, it's the foresight of a pioneer. Introducing the pioneers of Columbia's greater outdoors.
All right, class, let's button it. Becker.
Here.
Callahan. Callahan. Delivery confirmation on Callahan.
Drop him off at 8:15.
Gymnasium.
No, sir, no Callahan.
Always.
No Callahan. Just a freshman.
Thank you. No emails from his parents. Drivers, I need a 20 on Callahan. Got him. Reroute him straight to detention.
Get more done now with the new BlackBerry Curve, the only BlackBerry Curve with Nextel Direct Connect.
Thought you couldn't afford a hot tub? Well, ThermoSpa's designed one that's energy efficient and requires no costly installation. You simply plug it in and fill it with a garden hose. To learn how you can own a custom-built hot tub, call for a free DVD and information catalog, and we'll include a gift coupon for free delivery and installation. ThermoSpas offers many features found on no other hot tub. Why? Because it's not just a hot tub, it's a ThermoSpas.
More edges. As a bonus, you'll get a third applicator for hard-to-reach places. You'll also get a silicone remover to strip old grouting and a tube of silicone. The complete Pro Caulk kit with 3 tools with 12 edges, silicone remover tool, and tube of silicone. Just $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Order now.
To order your Pro Caulk, call 1-800-679-0413 or send $19.95 plus shipping and handling to the address on your screen. Call 1-800-679-0413. Call now.
There's no doubt that all eyes will be on Astana's Lance Armstrong. His time-trialing abilities are legendary. If his form is on, he could find himself back on the podium for the first time in over 3 years. But the fast, flat course is ideal for CSC's Fabian Cancellara. Last year proved perfect for the power peddler, and it's hard to bet against the 2008 Olympic time trial champion. With victories in the Tour's first 2 prologues, 2-time defending Tour champion Levi Leipheimer will have a tougher go at it this time around. But he'd love to get back in the win column so he can ride into his hometown of Santa Rosa in yellow. It could prove to be a great course for the boys of Garmin Slipstream as well. With the 3-time national time trial champion David Zabriskie on their roster and the huge talent of Christian Van de Velde, a podium finish could well be in their future. And time will tell if the sprinters will have any say on this course. Look out for Tom Bonin and Mark Cavendish. The short, intense route will definitely play to their abilities. The 2009 Prologue is setting up to be an epic battle. Sacramento has been California's state capital for over 150 years. Today, it is the center of the cycling universe as we get ready to bring you the Prologue. Almost 2.5 miles of pain here on Versus. Hello again, everybody. Well, a lot of people obviously, Phil, already know its definition, but we've got a lot of fans tuning in for the first time, so let's do some cycling 101. What exactly is a prologue?
Well, a prologue is, like it sounds, it's an hors d'oeuvre. It is the prelude to the big race itself, which will start tomorrow, the long-distance road races. It first came into the Tour de France in the mid-60s, and the reason was they wanted to discover a leader and a first wearer of the maillot jaune, the yellow jersey, so that when this race really did get underway, we would all know who was leading. And very important, it's been a great introduction into cycling.
Well, really, it's something that's been around for a long time, and just to understand, it's a short individual time trial before the stage race actually starts, and legally it has to be less than 8 kilometers long, and its origins come from the Greek word prologus, and I'm sure you didn't know that.
You've probably been wondering whether he's here. Oh, he is. He's eager, and he's ready to go. Let's send it to Bob Roll.
The Prologue time trial to begin this year's Amgen Tour California is fairly short, only 3.8 kilometers or 2.4 miles. It's not a very technical course until you get to the 180-degree turn at the top of the course right here. The riders will have a very strong tailwind as they come into this corner. They'll be going about 60 kilometers an hour, and when they get here, they'll have to slam hard on the brakes and then sprint out. The time gaps will be very, very close for the first 10 or 20 riders, and the difference might be between winning and losing how much speed you carry through this corner.
Saving the big fireworks for last, that's for sure. Some of the notable start times, and do note that they're both Eastern and Pacific times. George Hincapie going to be about 6:30. Dave Zabriskie right behind him, guys. Lance Armstrong, of course, in that group. Fabian Cancellara, the defending champion in our prologue. We end it all with Levi Leipheimer. It is going to be one heck of a show as we get the prologue underway. Lance Armstrong, a little bit more than the man of the moment. Some would say he's the man of the millennium due to his cause and the force of Live Strong, making his way to the Astana camp. And now we take a look on the road of Tom Danielson. There are your standings right now. Mark Renshaw going up against Fane Tuft. Mark Cavendish now sitting in third, and Ben Jacquemain in fourth.
So as we continue here with the Prologue time trial, still no change on the top. Mark Renshaw's been out of the blocks fairly early on. He's done pretty well. Sven Tuft, we expected a good one from him. He was out 10th today. Set the trend. Renshaw has got better than the Canadian rider with a 4 minutes 36.962 as we look here now at Tommy Danielson heading up towards the finish.
A lot of expectation, Paul, for Tom Danielson this year after his disappointing 2008, mainly due to injury.
Well, it's always very difficult, you know, for Tommy Danielson to try and ride into the wheel marks of Lance Armstrong. And when he came to the sport, everybody said, this is the man that will inherit the mantle of Lance Armstrong, and that's always a difficult thing to do. He has had a lot of difficulties, I think, for the last couple of seasons, but now he really has to get himself back into the top of being a top GC contender.
So as the riders continue to leave the start house here now, there's still nobody approaching the time of Mark Renshaw at the moment. Now, there are 136 riders in this event, and the big seeded men are going to go in the last 15 men out of the start house. We're watching Bernard Sulzberger here, who is a Tasmanian cyclist on the Fly V team, which has come here from Australia as Thomas Lundqvist now approaches the finish. Now, will this be a guide as to anybody that can take on? Because Lundqvist is a very good rider for Team Columbia High Road, but again, the leader's time has slipped by.
Well, you see, Lundqvist is a great time trialist over the slightly longer distances, and he wasn't really able to use his power, I don't think. Watch out for him when we go to Solvang. Top 20 position for him at the moment, but still an awful lot of big guys still to come.
Stuart O'Grady now on the line, and he is taking his chances here on the road from Team Saxo Bank. O'Grady, one of those many Australians who have done well on the roads of America before. We are in Sacramento. The Prologue is underway. Many more of the top guns to come after this.
Every eHarmony match is based on compatibility. During our free communication weekend this Friday through Monday, communicate with your matches absolutely free. Come see who you're matched with. Log on during this free communication weekend at eharmony.com.
Never miss a rendezvous with email and calendar on the touchscreen Samsung Instinct. Or plan the perfect day with one click to the web on the fashionable LG Lotus. Only $99.99 each on America's most dependable 3G network.
The penny, seemingly small, but now witness the new power of the penny. Penny Pizza. Call or come in for Pizza Hut's Penny Pizza Deal. Get a medium one topping for just a penny when you order any large pizza at menu price. The Penny Pizza Deal by Pizza Hut. Now you're eating.
Hey, it's our friend Bob. Looks like Bob continues to enjoy the big lift he gets from Enzyte and natural male enhancement. With over 10 million packs sold, Enzyte is firmly the #1 selling brand, bringing true natural male enhancement to men all over the world. Now you can join Bob and the millions of men who fully enjoy the benefits of Enzyte. Just call or visit Enzyte.com for a sample pack of the strongest, most powerful Enzyte formula yet. Enjoy the full, robust confidence that only Enzyte can provide. If you've ever been curious about natural male enhancement, there's never been a better time to try a sample pack of Enzyte. Visit Enzyte.com or call toll-free for a sample pack. Call right now and you'll also get 2 free packs of Enzyte Topical Rush. With an offer this big, it's enough to throw a parade. Sample packs are in stock now and shipped to you within 48 hours. Offer only good while supplies last. Limit 1 per household. Enzyte, the once daily tablet for natural male enhancement.
Tour California, you can log on to versus.com/TOC Fantasy. Lock in your 15 Tour California riders. Set your rosters each day. You get 9 starters and a chance to win great prizes. Those prizes include a Garmin 2009 Argyle Club membership, Team Columbia jersey, and many, many more. Right now, let's send it down to Bob Roll. Well, right, we're going to check in. More action on the road, but as I said, let's check in right now with Bob Roll, who is standing by with Floyd Landis.
You've had a few months of pretty intense training now. What are your expectations for the Amgen Tour California?
Well, my main focus was to make sure that my hip was doing well. Birmingham hip resurfacing is what I had done on the right side, and so I hadn't trained at that intensity and that amount of hours since I had it done 2 years ago, and I'm really happy that that's where it is, and that really anything else is icing on the cake.
Pretty impressive field, maybe the best ever assembled in North America. Have you had a chance to look at the roster and seen the names?
Yeah, I saw a couple, and I'm honored to be racing second to last. The Tour California people have been generous and good to me, so I feel special to be placed up there with Levi and the other guys.
Well, best of luck, Floyd.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, I think Floyd right there echoing sentiments of a lot of people who have gone through injury, which is that health becomes the most important thing in anyone's life.
Well, this is Andy Jacquemain here now as he puts his head down and drives on. The roads, of course, are totally closed, so he's allowed to do that as he tries to keep a good time here, at least rival his brother, because his brother still rides high on the standings so far. Ben Jacquemain is sitting there in 4th place. Having led when he finished, he slipped away only to 4th place. Now, a lot of riders have gone over the finishing line since.
Yes, but there's some big names still to come. Andy Jacquemain will be looking to try and rival the time of his brother. Formerly finished second in a prologue of the Tour of California, but that was a different profile route there, because I have to say that that Phil was over to the top of the summit of Telegraph Hill.
Well, one often wonders what Andy's thinking there as he pile drives his way on, being cheered on by the crowds, hoping that the time is coming out. 4:36.962 is the one everybody is now shooting at, done by the Australian Mark Renshaw from New South Wales, but he's on the American team, which is actually registered here in California, in San Luis Obispo, and that is Team Columbia High Road. So they'll want a little bit of a result, I think, today, and they might have it in Mark Renshaw. It will be one of his best wins if he survives.
Still a long way to go, as Paul has mentioned. The top guns still to come. Andy Jacquemain racing on the same team as his brother on this Bissell squad, and it really is a great cosmopolitan showing, isn't it, Paul, of not just the Pro Tour teams that are here, but the Continental squads as well.
I think it's a great advantage for the American teams to show themselves off to the international Pro Tour team managers, and it really is a good platform for the international teams to just look and see what sort of talent there is in the United States, and it's a great idea to have events like this internationally around the world, so that riders get a chance to move into the top level of the sport.
Well, the top 10 hasn't changed too much in the last half hour, except Dominic Rollin, who won on a very wet day into San Luis Obispo last year in a road race. He's crept into the top 10 with a 9th place time of 4 minutes and 42 seconds. But the order at the moment is Renshaw, Tuft, Cavendish, Ben Jacquemain, Brad Huff, John Murphy, Peter Latham. The Kiwi rider's done a very good ride to hold 7th at the moment, and Chris Horner for Astana, his new team this year, sits in 8th place just now. This is Jacquemain, Andy, coming up towards the finish now, and the rider chasing him will be Cam Evans. With the clock when he hits 4:36, and it will, because he's still a little way down the finishing straight here. It's a long ride home as they head up towards the line. They finish on L Street, not too far away from where they start, but far enough so as not to cause too much confusion. 4:42, 9th place.
Andy Jacquemain with 38 career professional wins. He will not get the 39th today, but perhaps Tyler Farrar will from Garmin Slipstream. He's coming up. He had 3 wins in 2008 and wore the leader's jersey here in the Tour of California. We'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to welcome you to the Sacramento International Airport, gateway to Northern California. We hope you enjoy your stay and encourage you to see some of the incredible sites located within a short drive. Perfect for sightseeing, wine tasting, picnicking, skiing, biking, rafting, hiking, climbing, falling in love, getting married, and having babies. So just remember, visiting Northern California has never been easier.
The Sacramento International Airport, growing, expanding, and as always, right smack in the middle of it all.
Every 60 seconds, someone, somewhere is making the switch to Tempur-Pedic. Now it's your turn. Call now for your free information kit, including a Tempur material sample, along with a DVD and catalog. Traditional mattresses use metal springs that can cause pressure points, causing you to toss and turn. Only the Tempur-Pedic mattress automatically adjusts to your body while keeping your spine in perfect alignment. Plus, because Tempur-Pedic doesn't transfer motion, you won't disturb your partner when you get out of bed or shift positions. Best of all, Tempur-Pedic will let you sleep on one of their sleep systems for an incredible 90 nights before you make your purchase decision. If you want the ultimate in comfort, if you wish to get more sleep but can't, it's time you make the switch to Tempur-Pedic.
Call 1-800-845-0531 for your free information kit. That's 1-800-845-0531. Call today.
Would you like to put a stop to your partner's snoring so you could go to sleep and stay asleep every night? Introducing Pure Sleep, the stop snoring solution. Common snoring is caused when the airway is constricted, causing the soft palate to vibrate. Pure Sleep is a patented self-molded mouthpiece cleared by the FDA, which holds the jaw slightly forward, opening the airway so that the snoring stops. Look at the difference in these before and after images.
That is just the astounding thing. I have not snored. And so this thing works. It's easy to use, easy to mold, works like a charm.
I'm sleeping through the night and so is he, and we're waking up with more energy and not waking up in the middle of the night to say shh.
If it doesn't work, we'll refund the purchase price, refund the original shipping charge, and even pay to ship it back. Try Pure Sleep risk-free.
Visit us at puresleep.com.
Back here on Versus in the Amgen Tour of California. It's the Prologue going on at the moment. Tyler Farrar in the start, and he is hoping to build on the event that he did last year, and it was a third place position. What a finish for him. He can go two better.
Quickly into his time trialing rhythm here. Tyler Farrar, his third place finish. I think it's fair to say was something of a surprise last year, but it stood the passage of time.
Well, he's a man who's an extremely good sprinter, and this is the kind of course that will suit the sprinters because this is an extremely explosive effort. You're only looking at 2.4 miles, or just inside of 4 kilometers, and you've got to come out of the starting house extremely quickly. This is a young man who, if it hadn't been for a nasty accident last year, I think would have been rivaling for a victory in the Amgen Tour of California. But one thing is that he now knows that he's got the ability to win this bike race. Andy Schleck, though, is a man who needs absolutely no introduction at all. Best young rider in the Tour de France last year and a star for the future.
I think that's right, Paul. Nobody knows quite what this rider is really capable of, because Andy's only just 24 years. Well, he won't be 24 till June this year. He's a bright young hope. He's the brother of Frank. Frank is in, and now he'll see if he can beat his elder brother, Frank's rider. Only 2 wins last year for Andy in Holland and in Luxembourg, but his performances were superb. 4th in Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and of course he rode a superb Tour de France where he won Best Rookie and White Jersey.
Andy Schleck enjoying his run up to that 180-degree turn. This is something that has been giving a lot of the riders problems early on in this race, but after they do this turn, it is an absolute straight shot towards the state capitol. Beautiful shots coming right there. That capitol built over 150 years ago, but that is not what these riders are thinking about and not what the fans are thinking about at the moment. They want to see rider action. And speaking of riders, Patrick Dempsey, actor extraordinaire, is with Bob Roll.
The last time I got to talk to you, we were in London, England, and on that day, the race was won by a man called Fabian Cancellara. What do you think his chances are today?
I think pretty strong today as well. I think the weather's gonna hold, hopefully, which is really nice to see. I think tomorrow it's gonna be a little rough on the riders, but it's amazing to see who's here in this field and how this race has grown over the last few years. And of course, Lance is here, which is always exciting, and Floyd Landis is back as well. That's gonna be really interesting, and Buden's here, so you know, a lot of great riders, and I get starstruck, I think, when I walk down and see them, and the accessibility and coming out to these races and meeting the riders is really quite remarkable.
Thanks a lot, Patrick, and let's look forward to a good day of racing.
Yeah, let's do.
That's absolutely something when you have someone of Patrick Dempsey's caliber saying that he is starstruck, but he was with us a couple years ago at the start in London. He knows all about this race.
So from the top here, as we see Tyler Farrar try to set up a good time here, he had to fight back from an horrific accident he had on the descent of the Kemmelberg in Gent-Wevelgem, a Belgian classic in the month of April 2007. Took him a while to get back into the swing of it, but he did it last year and picked up 4 wins for the Garmin-Chipotle team as it was then, including the overall classification of the Tour of the Bahamas. And he also held the lead in this race for a single day. But boy, I think he went into that corner in the wrong angle because he almost clipped the curb.
Many millimeters separating him, it looked like, you guys, from possibly going down. But that's how close you have to cut it, isn't it, Paul? I mean, it is a game of inches.
Well, this is a time trial that can be won by fractions of a second, and the fractions of a second can be lost or gained going round a corner like that. These guys, in fact, most of the bike riders this morning I saw before the start, once they closed the road, were actually going around most of these corners at race speed, just trying to judge how fast they could throw their bikes around, how much they needed to lean into the corners to keep the tempo up as high as possible, and that's why we saw Tyler Farrar taking that one as quickly as possible.
Well, as he approaches the finish, he's got about 10 or 15 seconds to get to that line. Now he wants to lift this up to about 32 miles an hour. The crowd will be shouting for him, but 4:36 is the time he's aiming at. It is going to be very close as he comes up. The cars haven't turned up. I don't think this is going to be a winning ride. It is not. Tyler Farrar, who was 3rd in this time trial last year, is going to be just slightly off the pace, but it's still a good ride. As he comes up to the line, 5th place for Farrar, 4:39. And he looked back at the time there, and I think for him, he'll be disappointed.
He will be disappointed because he will have come out and he was aggressive in the corners. We saw how fast he was going. We go a little bit further back, around about 1 minute to the man wearing number 12. This is Andy Schleck. Andy's not one of the great time trialists of the world, but he has to improve his time trialing ability if one day he dreams of winning the Tour de France. He is, though, looking at his position, Craig, I have to say, a lot more aerodynamic than his brother.
This is something that he's spent a lot of time on. We talk about the expectation of a number of riders. There is a ton of expectation on the shoulders and on the persona of Andy Schleck, Phil. People expect great things out of this young man, as you said a few moments ago, and I don't think unless he delivers, they're going to be satisfied.
Well, is he going to deliver now? Because the Luxembourg he's heading up towards the line. 4:36 is the time he's aiming at. There is the banner. It's just too far away. So Andy Schleck is another one that Mark Renshaw can tick off now, because he's going to be a little bit off the pace this time.
He certainly is, but his battle is going to be further down the road. Now, you might see a little bit of yellow on the road there, and just so that you understand what that's all about. In fact, the Live Strong campaign handed out chalk to all of the cancer survivors out on the course this afternoon, and they've actually written messages on the finishing line. And the reason, in fact, that they've used chalk is because the state of California and the organization have asked people not to paint on the roads as they do in Europe. So chalk, of course, once it starts to rain again here in California, will get wiped away.
You had to mention that 4-letter word, didn't you?
Yes, and it
rain.
might be tomorrow. I'm going to bring my hat and coat as the fans are enjoying a spectacle. And thank heavens it hasn't rained here today, because these people would have been feeling rather unpleasantly cold. It is about 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment here in downtown Sacramento, as we watch David Frattini here at the Cola Vita. It's an American team, but this boy is very much an Italian as we switch to the finish now. Jose Luis Rubiera Chechu comes up. A solid ride, as we would expect from the aging veteran. Slots in 27th place. He's a year older than he was this week, though.
But still a year younger than Lance Armstrong at 36 years of age. Just looking down here on another rider who's making his way around the course here this afternoon, and a lot of the big names now are starting to get themselves ready in the starting house, because very shortly we'll see the big names coming out to play, and these are the guys we've all been waiting for. Rock Racing now is in the finishing straight, and this is Chris Baldwin.
This is Chris Baldwin, the riding, as we saw Keir Ryan of the Jelly Belly team there making his way out of the start house. Chris Baldwin coming up, and this also looks like a very respectable performance from Chris. He is a very solid bike rider, this man. He doesn't get sometimes the exposure he deserves, as Baldwin keeps his head down and wills that banner towards him. But again, Renshaw will see another man fall outside of his time, as Chris is now left for the last lonely couple of 100 meters up to the line. So it's amazing how fast time flies. Just when you look like a winner, you finish 45th overall.
With Baldwin across the line, many more still to come, however, including the man who it seems millions have come to see, Lance Armstrong, in his Live Strong gear warming up, but he'll wear his Astana team gear, as will Levi Leipheimer, soon enough.
Everyone thinks Californians are so laid back. But we're actually pretty ambitious.
We reach for the sky! We put our best foot forward!
We're persistent.
Really persistent!
We give it our best shot.
So, if you have a dream of reaching the summit,
chase it down in California! But don't worry!
There'll always be room at the top.
California. Find yourself here.
Worst case scenario. Your in-person presentation to sell personalized postcards is imperiled by a pallet of pipes. Best case solution. Verizon Wireless Mobile Broadband on America's largest 3G network. Now, not even pipes.
they're precious. They're perfect.
Let's purchase.
Could keep you from your peeps.
I'm pumped.
Now get a free UM175 USB modem. Mobile broadband. One of the many tools in the Verizon Wireless Small Business Toolbox.
That's the money you could be saving with Geico. What?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
It's the money you could be saving with Geico. You were made for each other. You like money. He likes money. Well, he is money.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
I live a pretty simple life. You gotta live simple. If you got too complicated, people think I'm crazy. Never had a week off in my life without, just nothing to do.
Yeah! Welcome to Las Vegas.
Jagger! Look at it, look at it!
I made my dream come true. Las Vegas.
The way I see it, all synthetic oils are the same.
Think with your dipstick, Jimmy.
Aren't all synthetic oils the same?
Think with your dipstick, Jimmy.
Synthetics or synthetics?
Castrol Edge. I'm going to try this.
Oh, no, that's thinking with your dipstick.
So why did you hit me?
Because you were thinking with your dipstick, Jimmy.
Think with your dipstick. Upgrade to new Castrol Edge with 8 times better wear protection than Mobile One 5W30. It's more than just oil. It's liquid engineering.
A great look at the Capitol building as we take a look at our results so far at the Amgen Tour of California Prologue. Mark Renshaw has been at the top for a long time. Sven Tuft in second place. He was one of the first to leave their start house. Tyler Farrar is a man who factored in the mix just a little while ago, but one man who has some plans of his own for the Prologue is Lance Armstrong. He's with Bob Roll.
One of the strongest fields assembled in North America ever. How do you feel about looking at the roster of the Tour of California?
It's a few things. It's strong, it's deep. I think it's as a whole, I think it's very motivated. You have a lot of American guys in the race, a lot of American teams. So it'll be real racing. We can all debate whether or not it's the best one ever, but certainly for this generation, it's the best.
The team has some high expectation as the defending champs with Levi Leipheimer, and hoping to maybe do a three-peat here.
I think he's certainly the odds-on favorite, but having said that, there's a lot of people in the race that'll be strong, and if we all sort of key on and depend on that time trial, you'll see guys that can make it there on equal time and still do a good ride in Solvang, and that makes the race wide open until then. So we don't want the pressure of having to carry the race all the way to Solvang, but certainly, I mean, I think that if you polled the field, Levi's is the odds-on favorite, and I can, personally, I can see he's motivated. So I'm at training camp. He's super fit. He's ready.
All right, Lance. Good. Best of luck.
Thank you.
You're the tallest man.
As always, Lance, a very pragmatic approach to not just his riding, but those of his competitors as well, and sporting the Mellow Johnny gear from down in Austin.
Well, this is still Rory Sutherland here, who's trying to rewrite the leaderboard. He looks to be going well, but we have no time checks out on the course as he now continues to swing in towards the finishing line. 3:43. 4:36 is his target time of his countryman Mark Renshaw, but they're on different teams. As we now see a new colours here for Rory, because he's moved across to this brand new team Ouch on the block here. Sutherland lines up in the home straight, 3:59. He's got an outside chance. I think he might be in the top 5 here.
Well, the time he's looking to beat is the time of, as you said, his countryman Mark Renshaw from Team High Road Columbia, 4:36.962. But it's an awful long way down this finishing straight to get yourself down to the line. And when you take that first corner, you think, oh, it's just around the corner, mate. There it is. But all of a sudden, you start to realize that it's a long, long finishing straight of around about 500 meters.
He has 10 seconds to do it. I'm not sure he can. There's the banner up in the distance. That's more than 10 seconds away for Sutherland, and less than a second blank. It's the top 3 riders as well, so a blink of the eyelid and you're looking at 4th, 5th or even lower. As Sutherland now sees the top time slip away. He won't be too happy with this, Rory, but it hasn't all come out on the roads of Sacramento today, as Sutherland now lines up for a finish which is only going to put him in 2. Come on, stop the clock. It goes on. The clock's gone on 2, so I've no idea what he's finished now.
Well, he'll be inside the top 50.
He'll definitely inside the top 50. Thank you, Paul. Very nice.
I've always been a gambling man.
I was just going to say,
riding away now out of the starting gate is Oscar Freire. This man has got an incredible pedigree. 3 times champion of the world. He's won stages in all of the Grand Tours. He really is a great competitor. Now, watch out for the mountainous stages when the sprinters get left behind, because he's one of the rare sprinters who has the ability to climb and hang in the pack.
75 races this man has won in a career which started back in 1998 when he won his first World Road Race Championship. It came in 1999, just after he turned professional, and everybody looked at each other and said, Oscar who? And so just to remind us who he was, he won it twice more.
He did, and in fact he'd had a terrible season.
Not too clever on that corner though.
No, I think he went into the corner a little bit too fast there, but just to come back and finish the story about that world title that he won there in 1999, he only had 14 days of racing competition in his legs that year. He'd been dogged by injury, and that's the sad thing I have to say about his career, because he's one of those extremely talented bike riders who always seems to come up with some kind of an injury, whether it's from his knee, whether it's from his back, and he's always battling back to try and find his form. When he gets form and he's perfect, he's almost unbeatable.
He is. And over those years, by the way, he's learned the English language, so everybody can talk to him now, which is rather nice. He got 9 wins last year, Oscar Freire. The best, I suppose, came at the end, stage 11 of the Tour of Spain, the Vuelta, and probably the earlier one when he got Ghent-Wevelgem in April, which is one of the semi-classics in Belgium, and in the middle of it he won a stage from Digne-les-Bains of the Tour de France. So he picked them well.
It was a tough finish as well there, because that was with a small climb down towards the end, and that's again where he took advantage of being the sprinter who is available to climb.
Let's get back to the gatehouse, because this is Juan Jose Hayedo, or JJ as we call him. The man that's won more stages of the Tour of California than anybody else. He's got 5 under his belt, but none are time trials.
And including one right here in Sacramento, and that was 2 years ago, and he came bolstering out of the pack to get that victory, and I'm certain that he'll be in for a crack of a victory here during the Tour of California this year on one of the flatter stages. But he's going to have to come up against Tom Bonin, Mark Cavendish, Thor Hushovd, and a lot of very fast sprinters.
But he's got good legs. He won stage 7 of the Tour of San Luis, and it's not San San Luis in the United States. It's in Argentina, and so it was much warmer conditions in January. So he's come here well prepared now, and he's just 28 years of age, JJ.
JJ Hayedo from Saxo Bank en route at the moment, but one of his teammates, the Olympic Games time trial champion, Fabian Cancellara, still to ride. We'll have that coming up.
If you've been putting off getting new carpet for your home, now's the time to put it back on. Because the Home Depot has a new lower price for carpet installation. Only $139 for your whole house, no matter how many rooms. We've lowered the price on over 1,000 items throughout the store, including carpet. So you'll pay the lowest total price for your carpet project, guaranteed. New carpet has never been more affordable, with basic installation for just $139, no matter how many rooms. Only at the Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
I'm not done yet. No matter how hard I train.
How long I train.
Or when I train. I'm not done until I finish it with EAS Myoplex. Taken within 30 minutes after my workout, the high-quality protein in Myoplex helps me refuel and build lean muscle. That way, I don't waste my workout. Now we're done. For a free bar sample, go to EAS.com.
You may not realize it, but there's a source of renewable energy right in your neighborhood, and you're helping to power it. Today, Waste Management is using the resources at our disposal to create energy from waste. Enough green energy to power over 1 million homes. From everyday collection to environmental protection, think green, think Waste Management.
Introducing the People Want It Now event, because the people want a great lease and they want more.
The people want to go green.
And go fast.
The people want value that lasts.
The people have always wanted that. The people want to be carefree about maintenance.
Am I high maintenance?
Nah.
The people want to go further on every tank.
The people want to go potty now.
The People Want It Now event, happening now.
For a limited time, lease a 2009 Jetta, Rabbit, or new Beetle for only $199 a month. Legendary Volkswagen value. It's what the
Blackjack Pizza Excellence Test number 110 is Blackjack's excellence, scientifically explainable.
You tell me how you get that much goodness in a pizza box and charge that little for it.
It warps the space-time continuum.
I heard that the mozzarella cheese is made out of butterfly sneezes. You know what I like to do? I like to wake up in the morning and brush my teeth with Blackjack Pizza.
Nice. Do you know what the sauce is made out of?
Huh.
Happiness.
Blackjack Pizza. Excellence tested, always good. Call now and get any medium specialty pizza for just $8.99.
It's official. Blackjack Pizza tastes so good, it's unexplainable.
Sporting Clays is a blast, especially at Colorado Clays, the premier shooting range in the state. Just 5 miles north of DIA, it has 8 voice control trap fields, 2 skeet fields, 2 wobble traps, and a 15-station Sporting Clays course. Open to the public, Colorado Clays can also stage corporate events. We love new shooters. Instruction is available along with rental guns. Visit the Colorado Clays website for more information, and I'll see you at the range.
JJ Hayedo trying to crack the top 5. It's going to be a tough call for the Team Saxo Bank rider. The clock ticking, the top time from Mark Renshaw at 4:36 and change.
So as we see JJ come up towards the line here, and this is going to be an exceptional ride by the so-called sprinter. He won't get the time of 4:36, but he's right up amongst it here as he drives for the line. So he certainly hasn't taken it easy around this course of 3.8 kilometers. Hayedo's put himself possibly within reach of a yellow jersey if he can take out the stage and small time bonuses tomorrow. He gets the line in 4:43, 15th place for JJ. Not bad.
That's a great performance by a sprinter. He's obviously, like a lot of the other sprinters, been thinking tomorrow into Santa Rosa. If I can be close in there, I've got a very good chance of getting myself the yellow jersey. There's a little message in chalk being written out on the roads here, not too far away from the starting gate, and just running out of the starting gate is Tom Zerbel there from Team Bissell, who is opening up the curtain here, Phil, for what's going to be a flurry of massive names in the sport of professional cycling over the last 15 minutes of this prologue time trial here this afternoon.
Well, we're getting ready now for the big names. This is Tom Zerbel of the Bissell Pro Cycling Team. He's the last member of their squad now. They're all 8-man teams in the Tour of California, by the way, and there are 17 teams taking part. The mathematicians will now know there are 136 riders in the field. The next man to go is Alexander Moose for BMC. And then, as Paul has said, Thor Hushoff, who has won the opening prologue time trial of the Tour de France. He did it in Strasbourg, and he could well deliver. I watched him warming up, Paul. He looked very, very serious earlier.
I think he will do. He's looking at, again, you see when a rider changes teams, he gets an added sort of boost to his confidence. He wants to come into the team with great form and prove to the team that he deserves his position on that team. And it's that added motivation to prove to the boys that you really need to be one of them.
Clark coming in for the line. And you two are both fans of the Jelly Belly team, aren't you? You guys were pounding those down earlier today.
Yeah, I've got to confess, I'm a bit of a sucker for Jelly Bellies.
Well, you didn't give me one that tasted very well, I must say. You gave me a nasty flavor.
That's probably one I didn't want.
I would say so. Jonathan Clark making his way. He's already passed the time of Mark Renshaw. But for him, more or less a chance just to strut his stuff amongst the large crowds. Again, we cannot say enough about the spectators here in Sacramento. They have shown their force in great numbers.
Well, many of them are packed out, and it looks to me as though we've now got rider number 2 there, one Lance Armstrong, getting ready for the warm-up. Everybody trying to get the picture that counts as they are getting ready now for his start. He's still about 10 minutes away for Lance Armstrong to make his start.
Lance Armstrong, all smiles at the moment, but it's going to change very quickly as he gets ready to go towards the start house. Lucentini from AG2R now getting ready for his turn along this very short, less than 3-mile course. Only a few riders to go. One of them is U.S. national champion on the road, Tyler Hamilton, and he caught up with Bob Roll earlier.
Out on the open road, you get to wear the Stars and Stripes as national champion, and that sort of announced your return at the top level of the sport. Are you hoping to carry some of that momentum into this race?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I said, my form is not really at the best level right now, but I'll try to be aggressive and help out my teammates. But I'm looking forward to the season. You know, the season ended well for me last year, and I'm looking to kind of roll that into this year.
All right, Tyler, best of luck.
Thank you.
A lot more still to come. We'll take another look at those start times of a number of the top guns. George Hincapie coming up very shortly at 6:36 Eastern, and then we start to tick them off. Tyler Hamilton, who we just heard from, David Zabriskie as well, who's not too shabby at the time trial distance. Lance Armstrong, of course, Ivan Basso, Floyd Landis, and the defending champion here at the Tour of California, Levi Leipheimer, will leave at 6:45 on the East Coast, 4:45 Pacific time. Those are the men who will no doubt duel it out. Lance and Levi getting ready.
Boom, 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 boom. You knocked me out right off of my feet. Boom, boom, boom.
A race car driver feels 800 pounds of force at every turn. How does Dale Jr. overcome it? Energy Focused Control. Amp yourself.
Sweet mother.
The penny, seemingly small, but now witness the new power of the penny. Penny Pizza. Call or come in for Pizza Hut's Penny Pizza Deal. Get a medium one topping for just a penny when you order any large pizza at menu price. The Penny Pizza Deal by Pizza Hut. Now you're eating.
Those who seek to find her uncover the true face of fear. Rated M for mature.
This is Bob. Seems to be a lot of rumors going around about this chubby Santa. That's because Bob made a call to Enzyte about natural male enhancement. And what did he get? Why, a sleigh full of confidence, a sack full of pride, and the one thing that every lady likes, the joy of a gift that keeps on giving.
Call or go online now to find out how to get a 30-day sample.
Enzyte, the once daily tablet for natural male enhancement.
If you've ever been curious about natural male enhancement, there's never been a better time to try a sample pack of Enzyte. Visit Enzyte.com or call toll-free for a sample pack. Call right now and you'll also get 2 free packs of Enzyte Topical Rush. With an offer this big, it's enough to throw a parade. Sample packs are in stock now and shipped to you within 48 hours. Offer only good while supplies last. Limit 1 per household. Enzyte, the once daily tablet for natural male enhancement.
The God of Thunder, Thor Hushovd, trying to deliver one final blow against this competition. He's at 4:15. He's got about 20 seconds to go.
Well, there they are now. Thor Hushovd is bringing it home. He wants 4:36. It's still a little bit of a way out, and I would suggest, Paul, he is not going to do this, and that is going to make Mark Renshaw think he might be the top of the podium today. He's got about a second to do it. The line is there. He hits the line. He's done it by just a little less than 1 second. That was a fine finish by Hushovd, and he's happy enough with that. 4:36.041.
Well, we have waited an awful long time for that to be beaten. This man may well have the ability to beat that. He was beaten in the prologue time trial of the Tour de France by Thor Hushovd, the man who has just posted the fastest time as Big George comes out of the starting gate. I saw George Hincapie ride probably more laps than anybody else here this afternoon, checking out the corners, checking out the speed, and of course the wind direction too.
Well, Hincapie himself was when Thor Hushovd won that prologue in Strasbourg in the Tour de France. Hincapie finished second. Now, are we going to have a deja vu?
Well, they are very similar in their talents, but George Hincapie will be slightly more motivated racing here on home ground. He knows that his own teammate Mark Renshaw had posted the fastest time. Now the bar to beat is 4:36.41 seconds, and Hincapie will have a slight advantage of knowing that.
Well, Hincapie is now out on course, and Big George, an incredibly popular figure here in the United States, I have to say around the world in all honesty, and he tends to race well February through July. That's his time of year. He settles down now, and he knows he is capable of delivering a winning time here. Hincapie goes 127th from the field of 136. Tyler Hamilton is to follow him, and there he is making his departure now. The Olympic gold medalist 4 years ago, well, 4.5 years ago in Athens.
And he was extremely good at prologues in the early part of his career. He's got a rather ungainly position on a bike, but I tell you what, is extremely strong. And this is the kind of course that may well suit him, because this is going to shoot the big powerhouses, the men who can go in a straight line and use the monster gears. These are the guys that we're not looking at a V8, we're looking at the V12s coming out now.
And talking of V12s, there's another one of them here. This is Tom Bone, and the big sprinter here. 2 wins already this year, stage in the Tour of Qatar, and with it came the overall title, so he's on good form. He got in a little bit of a mess with that other sprinter, Mark Cavendish, who took a few stages off him. And Mark Cavendish, let's not forget, is sitting in 4th place in this time trial with very little in it amongst the leaderboard. This is now the champion of the United States, David Zabriskie for Garmin, who starts his move, and he could also upset that leaderboard.
Well, in 60 seconds time, Mr. Lance Armstrong himself will be climbing up into the gate. This is really quite an incredible finale to the first opening day of the Amgen Tour of California.
These were the fireworks that we promised all the fans around the country as well as the world. There he is, Mr. Cycling himself for a lot of Americans, Lance Armstrong getting a chance, and the crowd we can just hear going absolutely crazy here in Sacramento. This is a chance for them here on American soil for the first time in over 3 years, guys, to see him race.
Well, looking at the pictures, I never thought we'd see such pictures again. Just on 1,300 days ago, as Lance will tell you, he retired from the podium of the Tour de France on the Champs-Élysées, saying, right, I've done it my way, now it's up to you guys. And here he is back again, getting a countdown in a time trial. He is away, his first race back on United States soil, and you can probably hear the cheers as Armstrong takes off down the straight.
Straight through the crowd there. It's a tunnel of noise here for Mr. Armstrong this afternoon as he gets down into that very familiar aerodrome aerodynamic position. The cadence is back up just as it was 3.5 years ago in the final time trial of the Tour de France. And here he is in the opening day of the Amgen Tour of California. I wonder what the clock is going to tell us in around about 4.5 minutes time.
Well, we said, Phil, I was just going to say, we said at the start of the show that it seemed as though down in Australia, Lance Armstrong had not missed a step, and here he's showing it again.
If that race had been hilly down in Australia, I think he might have won it. But we'll find out about this one now, because this is much more to his like. A little bit rusty there, I think, on that left-hander.
Well, he said himself he was a little bit rusty riding in the main field, and that's, I think, why he wanted to get into the ability to ride in the main field. That's why he went down to the Tour Down Under. And the reason was he wanted to get himself used to riding in the pack and going around corners fast.
Now here's the man who tried to emulate Lance Armstrong in the Tour de France last year, his fellow countryman Christian van der Velde. He rides for Garmin Slipstream. He finished 4th in the Tour de France. An absolutely outstanding performance for Christian, a former winner of the Tour of Luxembourg as well. And I think he's going to be a little bit behind because he's just had the second child in the family. Training isn't quite up to scratch. We'll find out. Here's the arrival of Hincapie. 4:36 the target. It's going to go, but it's going to be very, very close. 35, 36, and he's in second place. We have the same situation that we had in Strasbourg in the Tour de France. He's second to Hushovd.
He's not happy with that either, Phil. He looked over his shoulder there to look at the clock. He knew the time he had to beat, and second place is not what he was looking for. Fabulous Fabien Cancellara, 3 times champion of the world, champion of Switzerland, Olympic gold medalist in the individual time trial. He is the man that could spoil the party for everybody else.
Well, Fabien Cancellara pulls on red as the time trial champion of his country, but he's also the time trial champion of the Olympic Games. He had a magical time last year as a bike rider. He loves racing in the United States. He dreamt of the time he would do a year ago in Palo Alto, and he did it and won the race, Craig.
What's amazing, too, Paul, is that it seems as though Cancellara over the years, he's changing like any great athlete. He's changing his goals. Tyler Hamilton coming into the line. We'll get back to that Cancellara story in a second, Phil, but here comes Hamilton. He's going to be over Hushovd's time, but a good result for the American road champion.
Yes, I think he'd be reasonably pleased with this because he's a little bit race rusty, but as he comes up towards the line, he slips away here because when they turn that car off, they're about 150 meters from it, and he drops into a rather distant 64th place.
Ivan Basso, winner of the 2006 Giro d'Italia, looking to roll down the starting gate now. He's never been a great individual time trialist. For him, he'll be testing his legs a little bit further down the road as we head down into the county of San Diego. But of course, the crowd here is reminiscent of anything that you would see at the Tour de France, because I'd have to say this crowd along the starting lane at least is at least 10 deep.
Checking in with Lance Armstrong once again, the Astana team rider has said this year there is no pressure at all for him. He just wants to help the team, especially here. David Zabriskie, who is the time trial champion of the U.S., will he come under Hushovd? It looks as though he's got a chance. The time to beat 4:36.0, and he does it. Phil, look at that, almost a half second faster.
4:35.557 for David Zabriskie as he hits the line just under half a second quicker. That's a great ride as we now look here at the time trial champion. He won the title in the town of Buninyong, Australia in January, and now Michael Rogers is going to show off his time trial national champion's jersey for the first time. The feeling is this rider is getting a good field, but it looks now as though Rogers knows he's got an awful lot to do. Back up the road, Lance Armstrong can't be far away from the finish. It's in the distance. We're looking now at a new best time, don't forget, of 4:35.557 of Zabriskie. It's not going to be, but I don't know, Paul. He's still a little way to go, but it's not a bad ride.
It's a pretty good ride for a man who hasn't ridden a violent effort like this for 3.5 years. Armstrong is in the finishing straight. He's still got a very high cadence, which indicates to me that probably a little bit further down the road, he'll be very good in the time trial in Solvang. Look at that, 4:37, and that's not bad for Lance Armstrong. Top 10 for him.
Well, where has he been for the last 3 years? And he comes straight back and he slides in the top 10, right, just as you please. 4:37 now as we look into the start house. Floyd Landis, a very determined face in that start house now, preparing to launch himself. He is the penultimate rider. He's earned that right by being the only other final winner of this race, which he won the inaugural Amgen Tour of California in 2006.
And let's not forget, Phil, that this man is coming back into the sport of professional cycling with a brand new hip. He had the hip replacement after he won the Tour de France in 2006, so he won't be riding with the pain that he had then. In the finishing straight, Christian van der Velde, 4th overall in the Tour de France last year. Again, not a bad time.
No, it's a very good time, considering he told us he feels a little bit behind the 8th ball in training because of the addition of a daughter to his family. Very happy occasion, but now he's got to suffer his way to form as he rides the Tour of California. And so he's running away from the best time now as he comes up. Still, that's a man of class for you. 19th place, 4:41.551. We're now just 5 riders left on course as we swing to the champion of this event for the past 2 years, and he's aiming now for a 3rd.
Look at that face. This is concentration now. He's exploding out of the ramp there. Where's number 1 as last year's winner? He knows the time to beat, and the time to beat is the time at the top of the leaderboard there by Dave Zabriskie, 4:35. Immediately into the aerodynamic position. He looks like a praying mantis there, doesn't he? Ready to pounce on this Prologue time trial here this afternoon. He will do everything he can to get as close to the top of the leaderboard as possible.
Well, Cancellara should be coming up the home straight right now, and here he is, because 4 minutes has gone by since he started. Leipheimer's gone, all the riders are on course now, and this is a good time. It's going away. No, it's best time, 4:32.909, 2.6 seconds quicker. Cancellara has claimed the Prologue for himself. I can't see Rogers, Landis and Leipheimer, certainly not Basso, matching that.
Well, a look at this on the camera lens now. It looks to me as if all of a sudden there's a little bit of rain starting to come down. Now that will be very difficult for the last riders to start, because that will make, although there are only 2 or 3 corners, it will make them very precarious indeed. Well, that was a phenomenal performance by Fabian Cancellara. He is, after all, the king of the individual time trial. It'll be a tough man to beat.
Well, looks like a deja vu for next year. The great season he had, winning all the world's big time trials last year. But let's catch up with Ivan Basso now, winner of the Giro d'Italia a few years ago. He's still doing